So this video I'm going to show you how we will use right triangle trigonometry to work word problems. So first thing we're going to do is talk about two important angles. So let's say this right up here is the sky, and then let's say right down here that this is the ground. Now, whenever we do word problems, we're going to take that the sky and the ground are parallel to each other. So what would happen would be maybe you are standing at the ground and you're looking up at the sky. So this is your line of sight right there. From the ground up is what's known as the angle of elevation. So this is the angle of elevation. So if you're looking up at something in the sky, then the angle that you lifted your head from straight ahead to up, that would be your angle of elevation. And so you could see that this would be your right triangle right here. So you don't know how far away the object is from you, but you can figure out the angle. There's apps that can measure angle of elevation for you. And then again, we're assuming that the ground and the sky are parallel to each other. Similar setup, but different use is if, let's say, this is the water level. So you're swimming or like in a pool or in the ocean. And then this right here would be the bottom of the pool or the bottom of the ocean. If you were swimming and then you decide to dive down, that angle from the top down, so from the water level down to the path that you're swimming, that is going to be the angle of depression. So if you look at this as parallel lines with a transversal, which we've been doing a lot lately, you can see that these two angles are alternate interior angles, and so therefore they have the same measurement. They're congruent angles, but they're going to help you, these phrases are going to help you when you read a word problem. So the angle of elevation is going to be talking about the ground to the hypotenuse, and then the angle of depression would be like in the sky, an airplane maybe, or again, swimming, going down to the hypotenuse, but they are the same measurement. All right, so here's our first one, and I went ahead and wrote that out just for the sake of time on the video. So if you need to pause the video and get this example copied. So you need to build a handicap access ramp with an angle of elevation that's 4 degrees. The doorway is 7 inches from the ground level. So what we're going to figure out is how long the ramp needs to be. So first thing I would definitely recommend would be to sketch what this looks like, because I think that's always helpful in figuring out what you need to do. So we have a building, and the door to the building is 7 inches off of the ground. So here's our ground. So this is the ground, and we need to build a handicap ramp so that a wheelchair could get into the building, and the doorway is 7 inches from the ground. So what we are doing is we're building this right here. This is the ramp. So we know that the angle of elevation is 4 degrees. So that tells us that this angle right there is 4 degrees. All right. So you can see that we have a right triangle right here. So just to get some terminology down, this right here would be the height. So I'm going to sketch another one right out here. So if we were looking at this situation, so you know what each thing, which each part represents, this would be the height. So the doorway is 7 inches off of the ground. This right here is going to be the distance along the ground. You could say it's the distance from the building. So that is going to be just the straight distance, but the length of the ramp. So this would be the length of the ramp right up here. All right. And then again, from up here, angle of elevation goes from the ground to the hypotenuse. So the ground to the hypotenuse. So that right there is your angle of elevation. All right. So when we look at this setup, we are trying to figure out how long is the ramp. So that's what we're trying to solve for. So we have an angle measurement. One side, we're missing the hypotenuse. That looks like sine. So the sine of 4 degrees is going to be the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So here's our equation. Now in order to get the answer to this, we need to just switch these two. So we need to now grab the calculator and we need to do 7 divided by the sine of 4 degrees, and I am getting 100. So our ramp needs to be 100 inches from, or the length of the ramp is going to be 100 inches. Now, if we want to make that into a measurement that most people would understand, we could change that into feet. So we need about 8 1/3 feet. So that is approximately 8 1/3 feet. All right. Next example. Again, I already have it written out, so if you need to pause the video so you can get it copied. So a cat ran up a tree. Fire department uses a 20-foot ladder at a 72-degree angle of elevation to get the cat. So how high up the tree is the cat? All right, so to get a visual for this one, so we have the tree. There is a cat in the tree. And we have a ladder that is a 20-foot ladder. So we know the length of the ladder is 20 feet. And then we know that the angle of elevation, so again, the angle of elevation is from the ground to the hypotenuse. So we know that is a 72-degree angle, and we're asked to figure out the height of the cat. So if we look, we have a right triangle right here, right there, and we're trying to figure out the height of the cat. So the ladder is similar to our ramp. This is the distance from the tree, which wasn't mentioned. We know the angle of elevation, so ground up is 72 degrees, and then we're looking for the height. So to solve this one, it looks like we, again, can use sine. So the sine of 72 degrees is the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So to solve this one, we just need to multiply 72, or sine of 72 by 20. So if we do 20 sine 72, we get 19, just a little over 19. So the cat is 19 feet in the air. All right, so that gives you an idea of how the word problems are going to go. So in each problem, what you're going to want to do is make a sketch so that you can identify where the right triangle is and the parts that you know. So then you can apply the trigonometry function to get the ratio, and then you're going to use your calculator to get your answer.